Hello and welcome to another Formable Nations video. This week we're going to be quite unexpectedly addressing the Greater Indonesian Confederation, which for the longest time was pretty much impossible to do in this format without getting in some kind of major World War II scenario, due to a bug involving Malaya being caught in an infinite civil war. Now you may think I'm going to say that bug has been patched. It hasn't quite been patched, it's just been replaced by another bug. But this one actually helps us, so I'm happy to announce that Malaya is finally playable.
Hello, it's me, Oscar Benaviez. Sorry to interrupt your video, but I am here to ask you to subscribe. Every subscriber is one more soldier to help form my Bolivar Empire. Do it now, friends, and we can soon have victory.
Okay, going in as British Malaya, perhaps the first person to actually care about what they're doing with this country. I don't think it's one of the major countries people are playing in the meta right now, but I'm willing to be proven wrong. Iron Man, and off we go. So, to reform the thalassocracy, we're going to need to do one key thing to begin with, which is gain our independence, and then we're going to have to very quickly annex the Dutch East Indies. I'm going to go do some one division training. First focus being political effort, of course. This is probably the only time I'm going to bring up research, because once you've achieved this, it doesn't really matter too much anymore. But the first things I really would recommend are basic machine tools, support weapons, and if you don't get it now, perhaps get it later, but since we're talking about it all now, I'm going to get it now. It's also going straight down to get your transport ships so that you can do your naval invasions. These three things kind of are the key components to winning our early war against the Dutch East Indies. So that's the strategy so far. And now begins 5-speed waiting, because as is with all miners, you just wait, really. That's it. That's the game. Waiting, forever alone. Here you can see we're being led by our good man Shenton. Good old Shenton. Good solid first name is Shenton. Shenton. Okay, the deed is done and political effort is done. So it is vitally important that despite the fact you have communist support for the Malayan Communist Party, you go fascist. Next focus is going to be naval effort. Pretty important for this strategy too, because we're also going to be using ships and submarines. Okay, now that all the research is done, you can do pretty much whatever you want. Naval effort done, let's quickly move on to industrial effort. From here on out, I'm basically just going to get the armament effort for the military factories. Okay, we have 10% fascist support. Remember, you have to be on 10.10 to take the decision, which means we can prepare for the civil war and expand the civil support. Yes, we have to go through civil war. You can't just change your country to fascist government through a democratic means, because you'll still remain an integrated puppet. If you go civil war, it will grant you immediate independence the second the war begins, which is, I think, where the bug is about to come from. Okay, time to put it to the test. Does the bug still work? Ignite the civil war. And yes, it does. In case you haven't noticed, there's a distinct lack of civil war that just went on then.
Cheetah.
What kind of happened is my unit teleported from Singapore over to North Borneo, and that's it. That's what happened. British Malaya, still called British Malaya because the game hasn't even considered that we are a puppet still. It doesn't even figure it out. It doesn't understand. If you double check on the United Kingdom, we're not here. We just left. This does, however, mean it's time to build units. And when I say this, I mean as many units as humanly possible. Goodness, it feels good to be independent British Malaya, which is in no way controlled by Britain Malaya. That's my favourite Malaya. Okay, so as soon as you have political power after that civil war, you can immediately begin justifying on the Dutch East Indies. You want to catch them early, and you want to catch them off guard. More mills. Oh, the name finally updated. I told you it would eventually. It just seemed to have taken me just a few months is all. Anti-Comintern Pact. Might as well join it. It's a hard choice now once you've got 150 political power, because each choice matters. I'm going to go limited conscription because I think this war's coming sooner than we realise, and having this manpower now might really make all the difference. Okay, we've got less than 50 days to go. It's time to start some quick naval invasion preparation. So what you want to do is get one of your units and you need to think about good places where they're unlikely to place ships, because in order to form the empire you're going to need all the states. There's two ways of doing this. There's the one where we fight the war out by island hopping, building up submarines, or you could go for the risky strategy which involves joining Germany. I think we're going to go for the involving Germany one, but just to be sure and to prove it's possible, I'll do a cheeky naval invasion of that port just to say that we can do it. Okay, justification complete. Let's see if this war goes down as planned. So before we go to war, we need to make sure we're capable of joining the Axis, of which we are. Okay, which allows us to have an open border with the Netherlands, from a German perspective, which means that should the war go south, we can just call in the Germans to annex the Netherlands. Then we have to be a little bit sneaky with the peace deal conference to assume control of the Dutch East Indies. If we can manage to puppet them, we may be able to get them fully.
Make sure to grab all the ports to encircle the Dutch for more war score.
And we just hired Hubert, who's a brilliant strategist. Okay, this game's going far better than I thought it would, yes.
Listen here Hovelax, I don't give a damn about this Malaya Confederation. If you don't subscribe, my empire can never be realized. Who cares about these islands anyway?
I'm not saying this is a capitulation, I'm just simply saying this is, well, it's bad news bears. Okay, so we have been caught out here. They did find a place to stop us. But, you know, this thing happens sometimes. We still got the encirclement up here, which is far more land than they might have expected. And we got another island to boot. See, as I say, you might be able to do this of your own capability without even needing to call in the Germans to begin with. You just need them to finish the war. That's the key point. And for some reason, I think they just let me walk straight into their capital for free. As I say, it's very odd to get the AI to work this place correctly. It's just so big that I just don't think they can figure it out quite right. Too many islands, too many crossings, too many straits. Okay, that's me done. I think we got most of the cities. It's not quite a capitulation, but it's close enough for me to say that if we call in Germany now, I think we'll get enough war score to puppet them. Netherlands didn't even stand a chance. It was just a steamroll. So, we are in the peace deal, and we got about the same score as Germany, but Germany went first. And as predicted, they will want to take the Netherlands. That's just their sole goal in life right now. That's what they need. We need the Dutch East Indies. Now we're going to have to be riskier because we can't afford it. Pass. Can we puppet it now? We can. And that has pretty much guaranteed us the Dutch East Indies. So I'm going to see if we can get something up here. We can get Suriname. And we can get that. And now there we go. German Reich has given up. They don't want anything else because all of this is for us. So I'm just going to take most of it straight up. Okay, and at that point, we no longer need Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler has served his purpose. Get rid of him. So we've now got thick Malaysia, which has completely avoided World War II, and it's 1937. But thick Malaysia is not the name of the video. The name of the video is the Greater East Indonesia Confederation. So that's exactly what we need to get. For the rest of the game, we're basically just going to be building up in our colony to reduce their autonomy and saving up some political power. In the meantime, there's other things you can be doing. You could go to war with Siam. You could go colonize Oman. These are all things I've tested and are perfectly valid. I personally am going to go to war with Siam because it's on the border and it's quite easy to deal with. Planning to naval invade Siam is pretty decent because it allows you to do this huge naval invasion if you just click on Bangkok. And Siam has one ship, just the one. In total, Siam does have 11 civs, so annexing them is going to be useful if we're going to help reduce the autonomy of Indonesia faster. Okay, justification complete. Ready, and let's go to war. And there we go, success. Take all states. And Malaysia has increased in size some more. So it's important to remember that you can get ideological fanaticism and if you want, create a faction with your puppet, which means that when you go to war with Siam or Oman or whoever you choose to, you can do technology sharing by being in a faction and being at war. This is something you can do whenever, so you can declare the war and then form the faction with your puppet during the war. That way you can avoid the guarantees. At this point, I'm not even going to pick a national focus, and I'm just going to speedrun to the finish line.
I'm sick of this Hovelax. Any country that isn't mine isn't worth playing. Time to end this.
What on earth am I looking at right now? Ah, at least we can actually finish the achievement. Goodness me.
No.
Just keeps happening. Look, it's just lagging. And it crashed again. Well, so in a typical Blue Peter session, this is my trial game that I made when I was testing this out. It's still in Iron Man, still all very legit, and it's possible by April 1939. So if you didn't go to war with Siam, you saved up your political power and you weren't dealing with strikes, you could get this empire done before World War II even starts, which to me, I consider that a great victory. So, unfortunately, you didn't get to see me actually click the button, but that's what happens when Paradox has updated to this version and I just get more crashes all the time. Never mind. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, consider subscribing. I could use the subscription. Every subscription I get stops another Paradox crash, so I think it's worth it for all our sakes. And I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.